Welcome back to another video. My name is Derek and this is the guidebook, and today we are backpacking the Conundrum Creek Trail to Conundrum Hot Springs. This is an out and back trail that is about 17 miles round trip with about 2,800 feet of elevation gain. We got permits a couple months ago and they were released for campsite number 14, so we get to stay the night in this beautiful area and hang out in the hot springs. If you weren't able to get a permit ahead of time on Recreation.gov, you can still come and backpack this area. You just aren't allowed to camp in the permit zone closest to the hot springs. So you have to do a self-issue permit at the trailhead, and then you can hike up just before the permit zone, find a campsite, and if you want to go to the hot spring, you have to, hike in from there. We are just over 2 miles in. We came to our first bridge crossing over the stream. We are about 5 miles in and we reached our next creek crossing with no bridge. We're a little bit over 5 miles in now. We just took a little break to have some snacks, and this scenery is gorgeous. 5.5 miles in now, we're to our next creek crossing. Beautiful views over Silver Dollar Pond. Water crossing at about 6 miles in. No bridge on this one. This one looks the deepest and the fastest moving so far. You okay, Meg? About 7.5 miles in now, another little creek crossing. Nice. Just got our camp set up and now we're gonna head over to the hot spring. We hung out up at the hot spring for a few hours. There were a lot of people there, so I didn't really want to take any video. Then we made our way back down to camp. Now we're just making dinner, hanging out. So I'll probably pick this video back up in the morning unless we head back up to the hot spring for sunset.
Look how beautiful it is.
We got camp all packed up, making sure we're leaving our campsite nice and clean, not leaving any trash or anything behind. On our way down, I just wanted to give you all a few tips if you're planning to do this backpacking trip or if you're planning to day hike this trail. On top of getting your permit for the backpacking, make sure to do your research ahead of time. We talked to quite a few people in the hot spring who didn't really do a ton of research and seemed like they were coming in blind other than having a permit. So make sure you do your research, make sure you know exactly where you're going, make sure you have the map downloaded, make sure you know that there are water crossings, and that there could be snow in campsites and stuff like that, depending on the time of year. Just make sure you have all the information, you've read recent trail reviews, everything like that, just so you're as prepared as you can be before attempting this trail. Also, this is a long trail, so make sure you start early to give yourself plenty of time to make it up to the campsites before dark. There are a few water crossings that would be even more dangerous if you're doing them at night, so you really want to start early. We saw a few people that were starting, at 6 p.m. or talked to a few people that, got in late on a Friday and then just started hiking in. And with this trail, it's probably not a good idea. Maybe if you're really familiar and you know the area well and you're really experienced, yeah, you might be okay. But it seemed like a lot of these people that tried that either had to turn around and go back to the parking lot or had to, set up camp somewhere and just were not in a great situation. So make sure you're starting early and giving yourself plenty of time if you want to hike this trail, because it is 17 miles round trip. So that's still 8.5 miles one way up to the hot spring. So make sure you're prepared for that distance. And it's about 2,800 feet of elevation. And since it is a pretty long trail, it's not super steep. It doesn't feel like you're climbing crazy the whole time, but you are climbing pretty much the entire time. So make sure you're prepared for that elevation and that distance. If you're hiking or backpacking this trail early season like we are, you're going to need to be even more prepared than you would need to be later in the summertime. The water levels are going to be higher because of snow melt, so the creek crossings are going to be higher and more dangerous than they would be later in the summer. And there might be lingering snow on the trail as well as in campsites, so you're going to need to be well prepared. Sections of trail also might be much muddier than they would later in the summer. For the higher water levels, the main creek crossing that doesn't have a bridge is actually kind of dangerous right now. If you're a smaller person or you don't have poles or a way to stabilize yourself in that water, you could easily get swept downstream. And a couple people in the hot springs actually told us that they ran into some girls that had gotten swept downstream slightly. They were able to get out of the water and everybody was okay, but 2 girls actually got swept downstream and were like pinned next to tree branches and logs and things like that. So it can be very dangerous. Make sure you're prepared, make sure you're in a group, don't do it by yourself, and make sure you know how to cross these rivers safely, and make sure that the water level is at a safe place where it's safe for you to cross. And the last tip is to get to the parking lot early. We started hiking at 7:15 on a Saturday, and there were maybe 2 or 3 spots left in the parking lot when we started hiking. So make sure to get to the trailhead early, even if you're not going to start hiking till, maybe 8 or 9 a.m. Still maybe try to get there at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. just so you can secure yourself a parking space, because you're not allowed to park on the road. So you'd probably have to drive all the way back into town to find a place to park, and that's going to add a lot of distance to your hike. As for the trail and doing this as a backpacking trip itself, we had an awesome time. This trail is beautiful, like the whole way. It's not even just that the hot springs are great. The whole hike up is gorgeous. The hot springs are amazing. They're huge. So even if there are quite a few people in there, you still have a good amount of space. I think we were in there yesterday maybe with 15 people at the height, maybe 12, 15, and it wasn't bad at all. We still had plenty of space. It was a lot of fun talking to everybody in the hot springs, and everyone seemed to be in a great mood, and everyone seemed like they really were having a great time on the trail. So it was a lot of fun, and we really enjoyed this trail. It's so beautiful. We had a great campsite. Luckily ours didn't have any snow and it wasn't muddy. Just all in all, an amazing place. I highly recommend coming here. You just got to make sure, do your research, get your permits well in advance, go on Recreation.gov and the Forest Service websites, and make sure you're prepared. You know exactly what you want to do. So when those permits come out on 8 a.m., you can try to get them as quick as you can. And if you're getting permits, I would recommend just going for the higher number sites, like 12 and above, because those first few, like 1 through 10, 11, those go super quick. So I would just start off just trying to go for a higher number site, because not as many people are trying to go for those ones. It'll give you a better chance of actually securing a site. That's gonna be it for this video. If you visit this area, please make sure to follow all of the Maroon Bells Wilderness rules and regulations. And that also means having a bear can and using it properly. Keep all your food and sensitive items in that bear can and keep it away from you at night, down in an area where, if a bear was to access it, it's not right in your camp. That also means keeping this area as clean as possible. Make sure to pack all of your trash out and any trash that you might find along the trail. Somebody might have dropped something, it might have been an accident. Please just pick it up and pack it out with you. It also means treating these hot springs with respect. That means keeping them as clean as you can, not bringing anything in the hot springs that you shouldn't, like glass. You probably shouldn't have, bug spray on, anything like that, anything on your skin. You just want to go in there and keep the hot springs clean, keep them safe. Don't leave any trash, no glass, anything that you would think shouldn't be in a hot spring, just don't bring it, okay? So please keep this area nice. Please keep the trail nice, campsites, everything clean, so this area can stay open and protected for the future generations to enjoy it as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about this trail, leave them in the comments below. And remember, always leave it better than you found it.